This is Moshe coming to you from Israel and the Galilee on the 30th of September. It's a Monday. It's 9:13 in the morning. We're going out of the summer finally, I think. It's 75 degrees now, 89 high, and 84 tomorrow, 84 Wednesday, 85 Thursday, 87. And then they're saying on the weekend it'll go into the low 90s again, but I'm not so sure that that'll happen. We'll see. Okay, so what we're going to cover today is the pro-Muslim terrorist media has been saying that Russia seems to be interested in doing something to protect Iran. Um, they quote Lavrov and Putin's speeches. I've listened to some of these parts of these speeches, and I don't see anything that, comes out like, Putin said he's going to attack Israel or, nothing like that. But, you know, um, they could just be clinging to their last hope. For many years, they've been clinging to Iran as this great power. And I've told you before many times, it's not such a great power. We saw that back in April 13th, when they launched against us. They're not that powerful. And I told you many times that if Hezbollah was such a threat, Israel never would have behaved towards Hezbollah the way it did. Okay? And now you see it. I mean, look, the guy, Nasrallah got killed. The guy that was going to replace Nasrallah replaced him, and we assassinated him in a few hours. I don't think it was even 12 hours. A big shot, a helicopter full of big shots, top generals from the Houthis flew to Tehran, and I don't know why they took a helicopter that far. They must have came from Syria or something. And the helicopter crashed in Tehran. Well, that's how the president of Iran got killed a while ago. His helicopter crashed inside Iran. So let's get real. Coincidence? I doubt it. Israel is not in the habit of taking credit for these things. We're not boasters like the Muslim terrorist states and groups, okay? We don't have to be. We do it. Iran and Yemen knows we did it, and that's it. We've accomplished it. We leave it alone. And then I'm going to cover the attack on Yemen yesterday, which was a devastatingly big attack by Israel on two port cities in Yemen. I'll go through that with you. We're still fighting in Gaza, taking out terrorists, but not that many. And we're bombing and attacking Lebanon 24/7. It's not stopping. It goes round the clock. The missile launching capability of them has been seriously diminished. We haven't had a launch from them. Let me look. I think it could be, I don't know, 15, 16 hours. I'll take a quick look. I'll tell you when the last launch from them was. Now, there's occasionally a launch. Iraq is throwing an occasional drone or missile at us to make it look good. We stand with Hezbollah, and the same with Yemen. 2 o'clock in the morning, there was an attack by the border of Lebanon, and I don't believe anyone was killed or anything, and that was it. And that's quite a while for these psychotics to go. And during the day there was very little, and that big scare in Haifa yesterday was one missile, and it got taken down. Now the terrorist mouthpiece media are saying that Netanyahu suffered brain injury when he was landing in Israel the other day, coming back from America. And that is such a lie. Okay, here's what happened. As he was landing, roughly about that time, I don't think they had the timing precise at all. They launched a missile towards Ben Gurion Airport. That was like taking a pot shot, you know? Um, and it was taken down before it landed. It didn't do anything to Netanyahu, not a thing. He was probably aware from inside the plane of a boom that was greatly muffled because planes are rather soundproof. That was it. And they're saying, oh, he has brain damage. One of the big Jew hater sites in America that has a radio show was saying he has brain damage. You know? These people are dreaming against the Bible prophecies and against what's going to happen. We're in recompenses now. It's called the year of recompenses, but the word is not Shana, which means year. Shanim means years, plural. It's Shanat, which is not it's like a year-ish period. It's not a precise 12-month year. Okay? So I was told this back in August 10th, 2023. So we're moving into, this year. So until we hit 24 months, we could still be in this period of recompenses. But I think it's going to be roughly when we enter the new year, which will be mid or late February, probably second, third week in February 2025. So yeah, Trump may have time to come into office. So I'm going to go through everything with you during the broadcast about what's, in my opinion, really going on, and the whole thing going back to October 7th is about Iran. And America is using Israel much like Ukraine. Don't kid yourself. Look at it. They give weapons to Ukraine, they give weapons to Israel. They help Ukraine with intelligence, they give it to Israel. They have lots of troops around Ukraine in case something bad happens. NATO may go in. America has a lot of military assets in the Middle East, and they may go in. Russia is a threat to Poland, Romania, Latvia, Lithuania, many countries around there. So America and NATO have troops to protect them. America has troops in Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Jordan. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. They're using Israel to weaken the Middle East, the satellites. And that opens the door for a knockout on Iran, which is all tied to Brics. And that's why they're knocking Russia out now, because of Brics. October 22nd, Brics is going to allegedly release their digital currency called Brics Pay that the Brics members want to use, and 159 countries want to sign up for it. And that means Iran will be free of sanctions, as will Russia, and they will trade oil, and the UAE too, and they will trade oil with the likes of China and India, which gobble up huge amounts of energy, natural gas and oil. And all these billions and billions and billions of dollars of transactions are going to take place in digital currency, not US dollars or euros. Okay? And that will undoubtedly, any expert will tell you, it will hurt the American dollar in not a little bit, not a medium, in a very severe fashion rather rapidly, because the demand for the US dollar will plummet. Because when America has its way, oil and natural gas is sold or traded, you might say, using US dollars, which makes countries need to buy US dollars to pay for it. Okay? Now they don't have to do it. China got rid of their US treasuries, Russia got rid of them. Many countries have sold off much or all of the US treasuries. So America, if this goes through, the drug cartels will use it. You think China and Russia and Iran and North Korea and those guys aren't going to let drug cartels use the new Brics pay? Of course they will. What do? They dump drugs in Europe and America. That's good for Brics. Brics countries are not taking in NATO countries. Okay? Biden is saying he'll put sanctions on anybody that uses this digital currency or something like that. Turkey's trying to go in. They'll take Turkey in. So things are so screwed up, they're going to have a NATO member in Brics buying oil, which Turkey needs to do, paying for it in non-euro and non-US currency. So this is what this whole thing is about. The big oil sellers in Brics are Iran and Russia. Ukraine, America's other proxy and NATO's proxy, is attacking Russia. And the Israel, serving as a proxy for the Biden administration, is attacking the Iran and her proxies network, right now the proxies, which comes before getting Iran. Now, if Biden doesn't do anything about Iran and Russia and Brics and the digital currency after October 22nd, right close to the election, which is November 5 or something, Trump will be out there day and night talking about the damage that was done to the US dollar and how if he's elected he could still fix it and what he'll do to fix it. And people will buy it. But what if the Biden administration wrecks the plans of Brics? Well, Trump's out of bullets, and then Kamala's going to run around talking about what a great job the Democrats did. And the people are going to buy it. Okay? So we're going to go into the details of this, and we're going to look at what's happened in the last day and what's going to happen. And the events yesterday, what Israel did, we attacked Syria, we attacked the West Bank, we attacked Lebanon, we attacked Gaza. We're fighting in Gaza. And we attacked Yemen with a very, very big blow, 2 blows. And we'll get into that today. Okay? And we're going to look at Bible prophecy. And I'm going to try to give you a possible maybe sequencing of how things will go with these wars. Okay? But it has to be on a maybe basis because the Bible prophecies don't give us a specific timeline sequence of how everything happens. So we know that it's going to happen, we know the end result, but we're not able to dot the I's and dash the T's during the progression of these events till their culmination. We don't have that. All right, so I'm going to do some praise now, being an Old Testament, New Testament site. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 All right. Let me go look at the live stream for a minute while people are still coming in and make sure that we have good sound and picture, which is rather wise, I guess. Yeah, we have pretty good sound and picture, no issues. Um, I'm gonna put a couple of very fast posts up in the chat. It's not gonna take but seconds, I think. Um, Alright. If I talk too much, I'll make typos. Let's see. Okay, I got just gonna put my email address up and that'll be it. Okay. So we hit Yemen last night. We paid them back for those, single missile launchers they were trying at us. We hit 2 port cities. We basically cut off Yemen's energy supply. We blew the ports up. I believe we attacked either 8 or 11 oil tankers. But I don't think the attack was that serious on the tankers. One suffered pretty good damage. We blew up their ports so they can't offload or unload anything: oil, natural gas, grain, tires, garbage bags, nothing. And we took out in both of those locations, we took out their electric generators, so they don't have electricity. And they're damaged. And, we basically made those places unusable. It'll be more and more difficult for Iran to get goods into these areas. Previously, a few months ago, we destroyed a different port. So now we've destroyed 3 of their ports. And it's likely we did a targeted assassination with that helicopter. Okay? They're threatening, they're not happy. They took down one of those $32 million American drones yesterday or last night to show us that they're still in the fight. See, these guys, you could say they're dumb as a bag of hammers, but that's unfair. They're psychotic. They live in a delusional system, and they think they're so omnipotent and powerful. And the leaders begin to believe their own lies. Let me tell you something. If the best way to fight was to go stockpile 250,000 missiles, Israel would have went that route. Instead, Israel invested billions in submarines, missile cruiser boats, destroyer type boats, F-15s, F-16s, F-35s, tanker refuelers, cargo transport planes, etc., and Apache helicopters and other helicopters. And we put our money in it. Tanks, armored personnel carriers, armored Humvees, and things like this. Now, if it was a better idea to go start making terrorist-style weapons like missiles, we would have done it. Now, we probably have a lot of missiles that we haven't used yet. Surface to surface and anti-ship. Why use them? They're expensive. But without the swarm attacks, the Iron Dome is performing superb. One missile comes in, they'll usually launch about 3 bursts of an Iron Dome fires 2 at a time, basically. So they'll send 2 missiles and then another 2, and then between 4 and 6 missiles at it as it travels down the path, and usually one of them will hit it, if not more, and then it crashes. They try to do the takedown over open fields so nobody gets hit with shrapnel. They sound the red alert now in many cities, even 10, 15, even 20 miles away, usually about 10 or 15, because they don't want the people getting hit with shrapnel from the Iron Dome. Most of the injuries in Israel have been from our own shrapnel from the Iron Dome. Very, very few people in Israel, I mean, you can probably count them on one hand since October 7th, or maybe 2 hands, got killed from missile attacks or drone attacks. Yes, soldiers got killed, soldiers got wounded. That's not the same thing. But it's still not good. All right, so obviously the Lord's helping Israel, because from October 7th forward, they must have sent at least 15 or 20 or 25,000 missiles, drones, and rockets at us. The device attacks was nothing short of remarkable. It was unprecedented in the world. Killing Nasrallah was unprecedented. So we hit Syria last night or late afternoon, and we hit a house that the brother of Bashar Assad lives in. And his name is Mayer, M-A-Y-E-R, Assad. And he's a very, very, very high-ranking military commander in Assad's army. He may be the big top general even, I think he is. And we're not sure we killed him, but his house got pretty well blown up. So we suspect we killed him, but we're not 100% sure we killed him yet. So I don't want to speculate and say, oh yeah, for sure we got him, because we don't know yet, but it'll come out. So this is a very big targeted assassination, and we all know Damascus will be a ruinous heap. I don't see Israel getting any land back until we get into redemption. Okay? Now, what could Putin do against Israel? Supply weapons to Iran. Well, he's been doing that anyway, but yeah. Can he get weapons to the Houthis? I think so. I think he just flies into Yemen with the weapons. I don't think there's any problem. Can he give Yemen weapons to attack Israel? I think so. The bad news for Putin is these missiles are very expensive. His good stuff is $10 million a throw. And that doesn't mean we're not going to knock it down. But if he gives them big, ballistic, long-range missiles that are guided, that means they could bob and weave. They could go left, right, up, and down, constantly changing position. So our takedown missile systems won't be able to get a lock on them, because we won't be able to predict where they're going. And these missiles are hypersonic as well, so that could cause a lot of damage to Israel. In the event that Russia does that, Israel will forcefully enter the war in Ukraine against Russia. It'll start with giving Ukraine not just iron domes and defensive weapons, but offensive weapons. It will cost Russia severely. Now that's assuming America does nothing about it. There's, of course, a very, very high probability that Biden would give the green light to Ukraine to launch long-range missiles into Moscow, St. Petersburg, and places like that inside Russia. And Putin knows that. Putin has a mutual defense treaty with Iran, and he's supposed to phone again. Take it out. And he's I gotta change these pants. The pockets are no good. And he's going to possibly honor it. I don't know. The problem that Putin has is huge. He's fighting for his life over there with Ukraine. He hasn't taken back that big patch of land that Ukraine is occupying yet. That's a problem. He has no anti-missile system that'll stop the long-range missiles from the UK and America. That's why I say he's fighting for his life. He's in dire straits. Yet, he did participate in a massive naval exercise in the Asia-Pacific region, which might still be ongoing, I don't know. He also has some submarines sprinkled around America, off the shores of America, by the Gulf of Mexico, Pacific, and Atlantic, and they're up by Alaska. And they can launch hypersonic, ballistic, big payload weapons, 1,700 kilogram warheads, which is huge. And I would say that would probably blow up about 2 city blocks, maybe a little less, but about 2 city blocks. And the hole would probably be deep about 20, 30 feet. It'd be pretty serious. But what are you going to do with one of those? Shoot it at an American base and blow up 2-block area? Well, you could blow up the basketball courts. See, it's a big question of, what is he going to target? He doesn't have 40 submarines over there. He might have 5 or 6 at the most, I guess. So Putin's got a lot of problems. NATO is ready to invade Ukraine and run him out, which is probably how the war would start. The first step would be to shove him out of Ukraine. But as long as Putin's continuing with this digital currency thing, there's no safe harbor for Putin. America doesn't care if he leaves Ukraine. They care if he moves forward with this digital currency problem. Putin is, I think, buying time. Why? Trump said he could make a peace deal with Putin, and Trump said he's not very fond of giving billions of dollars every month to Ukraine. Could Trump negotiate some sort of a deal with Ukraine and Putin? Oh, I'd give it 90%. Probably Russia wouldn't like it and Ukraine wouldn't like it, but it would probably fly. They would agree to it. But you see, Trump, if he inherits the Brics pay digital system from the days of Biden's administration, he's going to be, how the heck is he ever going to get these countries to give it up? They don't want America snooping with their banks. They don't want America confiscating bank accounts. They don't want America imposing regulations on the banks that you can't bank with Americans if you're offshore. All the stuff that started with Obama, that spread, Trump never reversed any of those things. And Biden, of course, never did. So, I have no idea what Putin would or would not do, or what Trump would or would not do. What in the world could Trump do with Putin to make him give up the Brics pay system, the digital system? Nothing. Because Putin and China and Iran and all them are going to crush America with it, and it's a known fact. They just don't talk about it because it would create panic. People would start fleeing the stock markets and be catastrophic. People would start buying gold and silver even more than they do now. Gold is still holding in the mid 26s, 26.55, and silver's holding at 31, and it'll climb. So what's going on today? Israel is bombing Lebanon, hitting targets, destroying missiles, missile launchers, and so forth. Okay? Trying to kill key figures. They killed some lesser terrorist group, 3 of them. In Lebanon, I believe they got them. The Houthis they're going to leave alone for a while. They're not going to go put a lot of time and energy in that in Yemen. Okay. We're attacking in Syria. We have attacked in Syria by the Lebanese border, which you would call northeast Syria. Destroyed all that stuff, so they can't bring weapons or troops in to Lebanon over there. And anytime they try to repair the damage of a bridge and the roads and stuff, we blow it up again. That's just not going to be tolerated. We have Navy ships off in the water but the Mediterranean near the Beirut International Airport, so there's no aircraft coming in unless it's a real commercial plane like Lufthansa, United Airlines, it's not going to be, Iran Air, or, Jihad airplanes, it's going to be, a recognized commercial flight that's not going to lie. And they can bring people in and take people out. It's an open airport right now. Anything other than that isn't getting in and out. And honestly, many of the airlines no longer fly into Beirut. Quite a few. I imagine there may still be 2 or 3, but I think it's very rare. There may not be any anymore. Probably not any. Iran tried to bring a flight in the other day, and it was turned around and sent home. So there's not much getting in. They can't come in by sea, they can't come in by air, and they can't come in by ground. So their replenishment of their missiles is not happening. Israel's not stupid. So now that we know Hezbollah is not resupplying in ammo, weapons, and so forth, it's just a question of grinding them down. A lot of their weapons are in homes, okay, private homes. They've taken homes away from Christians in Lebanon and threw the Christians out of their own homes. So we got to knock out a lot of these homes and buildings. We're not experiencing a massive tunnel problem like we did with Gaza. Hezbollah seemed to put their eggs in a different basket by keeping a lot of their weapons, supplies, command centers, and other facilities up in the Beirut area, far from the border. But we're striking there heavily every day, day and night. And it's working. So we're wiping out Hezbollah. And this is the way it looks from Gaza. The missile launches go down, 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 and then you go hours without a launch, and then they fire up some missiles, and then you go more hours and more, and then finally you start skipping days, a day or two without a launch, 3 days without a launch. That's how to deteriorate. The ground invasion for Lebanon looks like it's on, although they're using the word limited. So what does that mean? I have no idea. Okay? The special forces have made probes, I would call it, into South Lebanon. But this is probably to look for booby traps, tunnel entrances and exits, whatever they can find to help the ground invasion. We've moved more Murkov tanks up there, and they're getting ready to go in with the tanks. And the Hezbollah might have some anti-tank shoulder-fired missiles they'll use at them, which probably aren't going to be that successful. And so we might take some casualties on this invasion, but I think they'll be very small. These soldiers going in are going to be tanks, which can shoot artillery. We're going to have mobile artillery, which shoots bigger artillery longer, and it looks like a tank. We're going to have towed artillery on our side of the border, which could help, for probably at least 16, 17 miles in. And we're going to have aircraft overhead constantly with helicopters. So what are they going to do? There's a video I put on my Telegram of a Hezbollah soldier cursing Iran because they feel betrayed by Iran. And they were betrayed by Iran. Iran is a big mouth, blah, 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 and they don't have anything to deliver with, okay? And now Hezbollah realized they don't have as much to deliver with. So the leaders are believing their own lies and convincing their followers in the military that this is the case, in their own military, that this is the case, and it's not. So now Hezbollah realizes they're hanging out there in the breeze, waiting to get killed or surrender. And Iran ain't coming. And Gaza learned that lesson. Instead of Iran coming, Hezbollah came. And Yemen in a fashion. So Hezbollah is just about, Hezbollah is on the endangered species list today, and I think in a handful of days or a few days they will be officially an endangered species. They're gone. Extinct, rather, I would say, an extinct species. Israel wants to crush them so bad they never come back. But you got to analyze this. How does this work? Their ranks were about 50,000 back on October 8th. They haven't lost but hundreds. They didn't lose two or three. Well, no, they lost more. They might be down, I mean, best case, 42, 43,000 or something like that. Not enough. If they're down to 10,000 or 15,000, they're still a little dangerous, but not much. Because the Lebanese army could handle it if they want to. So that means, what are we going to do? Kill 30,000? I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I'm not so sure Israel knows what they're going to do. They're not going to go in, bust up more missiles and artillery and mortars and all of that, and then go home, because, I don't know, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks later, Iran will have a lot more new weapons in there. Russia will probably chip in, and they'll start shooting missiles at us again, based on our weakness of just leaving them alone to kill us another day. So that's not likely to happen. So what are they going to do with them? I don't know. The most logical answer is to occupy a buffer zone in Lebanon. And 17 miles to the Litani River isn't going to cut it. It's going to probably go up to Beirut and then some. And we'll be patrolling that. And then we'll be taking them out, having fights with them, destroying them. And then as time settles, now this may not happen prophetically, but this would be the plan. Over, 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, we would start to recede back to the Litani River and then patrol the area between Israel and the Litani River. Now, the problem is the long-range missiles go 50, 60 miles. So having a 17-mile buffer zone is suicidal unless we're reasonably certain that Hezbollah does not have any of these long-range missiles anymore, or the launchers, and they can't get any more in. So it's a rather complex situation, but there's an easier way to fix it. But before I give you the fix, let's talk about the Houthis. That's rough terrain there. You destroy their ports, you could hurt their economy. They could also cut the internet cables, and they may do that. They're not backing off on, curtailing shipping in the Red Sea area. They're continuing to do that. They're temporarily stopped. They need more weapons. Or maybe they don't, but they maybe need more launches, more radar. They're hurt. But what's going to stop Iran and Russia, or maybe North Korea and even China, from helping the Houthis out? Nothing. We're not protecting we're not stopping anybody from bringing weapons in to Yemen. I think the approach with Netanyahu's administration is, if they keep trying to shoot at us, number one, it's a very low risk. Unless they get ballistic guided missiles, which are very, very expensive. It's a very low risk, and we could do the takedowns. And then if they keep it up, we will mobilize another 60 or 70 jets with refueling tankers, and heavy weapons and rockets and missiles and go down there and blow some more of their country up. Do I think they'll ever get the message? No, they will never get the message. It's a suicidal death cult. Okay? We're going to kill the Jews and get rid of Israel, or we're going to die trying. That's, in a nutshell, what their motto should be. So that approach isn't going to do any good. Will the Houthis try to assemble a large convoy of soldiers to come into Israel and help Gaza, for instance? They talk about it, but they have limited ability. Let's say Egypt lets them in. So they cross over to the other side of the Red Sea, and they traverse up towards the Sinai Peninsula, in tens of thousands, and then try to push in. And Egypt has a lot of tanks over there right now, and soldiers, and they might help out, and they might not help out. I don't know. They might let it happen. They might be very much afraid to let it happen. And I don't know. I'm not leaning heavily there. They would have to travel either on ships through the Red Sea, which I don't think they would do. They'd have to go by land on the other side of the Red Sea to get up to Egypt, I suppose. The easier path to them is to try to get into Saudi Arabia and then go up and get into Syria and assemble on a border in Syria. But once they I don't think Israel would attack them until they got into Syria and started assembling, and then we would start attacking them with bombing runs. And they know that. So I don't know what they're going to do. Why should we go down to Yemen and go through the rough terrain with the caves and the artillery in the caves, getting our guys killed, or the American and Brit soldiers getting killed? Why pay attention to it that much? Let the Houthis stew in their own juices, and let's get rid of Iran. Because Iran funds them and supplies them with weapons and training, military advisors ad nauseum. Okay? So when you cut the head off the snake, which is Iran, the proxies fall apart. So all roads lead to attacking Iran. For the Brics thing, remember, selling wheat and light bulbs and tires and grapes and stuff in Brics is going to be damaging to America, but nowhere near as damaging as selling oil and natural gas. And the two big sellers of natural gas in Brics are Iran and Russia. And America's sights are on both of them. And the attack on Russia is well on its way. And the attack on Iran in reality is well on its way. But it doesn't look like it to most people because they don't realize the proxy's got to go first. Okay? Iran is run by mentally deranged individuals similar to murderers and serial killers that are in psychiatric hospitals that are incompetent to stand trial. That's who runs Iran. And the Hezbollah, and the Houthis, and the Hamas, and the Iran-backed militias in Iraq and Syria. The whole lot of them are mentally deranged people operating in a delusional system that their role in life is to kill the Jews in Israel. That's it. That's what they live for. Curiously now, in several countries, the Muslims, mostly I think all Sunni, that opposed Hezbollah because he was brutal to them, supporting Bashar Assad and killing thousands and thousands of them and so forth. They're in several countries celebrating the death of Nasrallah and hoping it's the beginning of a new era. The Sunnis are not that big right now on killing Israel. Okay, it's the Shiite Muslims that want to. Okay? But the Sunnis are going to come at us too, according to prophecy. All right? Egypt is more, I would say, a Shiite. Saudi Arabia is definitely Sunni. Oman is something weird. Jordan is Sunni, but got a lot of Shiites in it, you know? You know, there's a lot of them, you know, and you got a bunch that are trying to walk on neutral ground, like Kuwait and the UAE, and that ain't gonna work. UAE is also in Brics. Now, they don't sell anywhere near as much oil as Iran and Russia, but they too need to be stopped. So those three oil sellers are a problem, and the Saudis are going to join Brics. They're not announcing it, but they have for months stopped selling oil and gas for euros or dollars. Take it to the bank, they're going to use Brics Pay. To get Brics Pay credits, you're going to have to post some assets. You don't have to turn them over physically, but you have to post a basket of assets that will allow you to receive so many Brics Pay units or dollars or reals or pesos or whatever you want to call it, right? So we're going to hear what this is on probably the 22nd. Well, their conference is the 22nd to the 24th. I believe it's in Russia. And they're going to announce it. But they're definitely going to take gold. They're going to take oil and natural gas. You have to post a certain percentage of your reserves. They're probably going to take wheat. They'll probably take rice. They might take rubber. I don't know what they'll take. They may take copper, platinum. I don't know yet. We'll find out. Okay? So then when they have these sort of kind of loosely secured assets, because the assets are still going to remain in the country that has them, they're not going to go to Russia or China's vaults. It's sort of a secured currency, and you know, this something America will be destroyed. China and Russia and Iran and North Korea and their friends like Venezuela and Cuba and Belarus and stuff, they all know that this will cripple America. It'll be like sanctions on America and Europe and NATO. They know it's going to hurt them very, very badly. And they're not about to sit still. As you've noticed in the last few days, there's a shift with Biden. He's saying, he's doing his tokenism, tongue wagging, but that's all it is right now. Well, we still think a diplomatic solution is possible in, Lebanon. And, what's he supposed to say? We commend Netanyahu in his violence, and we encourage him to do so more. We think that Lebanon should be annihilated. He's not going to say anything like that. Okay? They're provoking Iran because Iran knows they're a sitting duck without their proxies. And are they a sitting duck today? They're about 75% a sitting duck today. They still got Syria and Iraq. They're a sitting duck. So what does this sitting duck do? What is the gain if they launch 800 missiles at Israel? They might cause some damage in Israel. I highly, highly doubt it. Okay? Most of their missiles can't reach Israel, let alone they're not guided, and they'd be taken down and they'll fall in open spaces and everything else like the last time. And then is Israel just going to say, oh, we better stop? Let's, leave Gaza and let Gaza rearm and kill us again. And we'll do the same with Hezbollah and they can kill us again. And maybe we'll have 3 good months before we're dead. It's unlikely Israel's going to do that. So what's going to happen is Israel, probably during the missile launches or immediately thereafter, Netanyahu is going to send probably 12 to 25 F-35s with refueling tankers. And they're going to go over to Iran and bust out whatever radar and ground defenses they have. And then you're going to see probably another 25 or 50 F-15s with heavy payloads go over there and destroy the ports that Iran has, destroy their pipelines, oil and natural gas pipelines, get rid of the electric generators near the ports, blow the piers up, okay? Blow anything and everything up that's associated with this oil delivery, okay? So Iran goes bankrupt. How long will it take for Iran to go bankrupt? A month or less. So how the heck is Brics going to work if Iran cannot deliver the oil? Can you dig it? Do you understand it? The piers are gone, the ports are gone, the storage facilities to offload the oil, maybe, but they don't have grain. Offload the oil and the gasoline, the oil and the natural gas, I should have said, into the ships to take it and sell it to other countries. They might be in Brics, but they got nothing to sell. So people call them up on the phone and say, you got any oil? And they'll say, no. All right, now we got to deal with Russia. Well, have they been hitting Russian storage facilities for oil near Ukraine? Yep. Have they been hitting Russian refineries? Yep. So what are they going to do? They're going to use the long-range missiles. They're going to hit electric power plants, which screws up your oil refinery, by the way. They're going to hit oil storage depots. They'll probably try to hit some ports and piers. And they're going to make it rather difficult for Russia to be able to deliver any oil. And the UAE can easily be controlled by talking to them. So that's it. The UAE goes with the flow. The UAE is not a big supporter of Hezbollah or Hamas or any of that stuff. They can't stand it. They don't like Iran. They see Iran as an enemy, but they don't trust America. They don't want to stand up against Iran, so they'll go hide in Brics and play the game, just like Saudi Arabia. When they see Iran busted up, what are they going to do? They're going to call Blinken up and they say, oh, we're going to have a big party here to celebrate our new relationship with America, and would you like to come and we have some great announcements that's going to just help you in the election or something. Yeah, they're gonna buckle right in. Saudi is like as much as it can be an isolated country. That's not a real country. It's a family business. The biblical name for that area is Arabia. Saudi is the name of the family Saud. It's a possessive. So it's saying this is the Saud family estate. This is our ranch. We have a ranch. Instead of raising cattle, we raise oil. Okay? That's Saudi Arabia. And it's our family business. And it's a dictatorship. And they don't have any desire to kill the Houthis or to kill America or to kill Israel or kill Russia. All they want to do is leave us alone. We want to have our gold-plated Rolls Royces. We want to have our $2 million Richard Mille wristwatches. We want to have, 5-6 palaces apiece. We want to buy cruise ships and turn them into personal yachts. We want to use airliners for our personal planes. This is how they live. We want to have every day the best fruit and vegetables, caviar, coffees, candy, the best of everything in the world flown in every day to meet the desires of our flesh. And we want to stay isolated. We just want to live in the biggest lap of luxury because we believe that whoever dies with the most toys in the end wins. That's the Saudis. The UAE is they're very close to the Saudis. Where one goes, the other goes. They're very different. They have built up lots of non-energy businesses in the UAE. They have a $1 billion theme park over there. It's not as big as Disney World or not as big as the other one. What's it? Universal Studios. It's not that big, but it's plenty impressive. It's after one of the comic book themes or something. I forgot which one. Warner Brothers, I believe it's Warner Brothers. And they have lesser theme parks there as well. They got a big amusement park set up over there like you wouldn't believe. They got Ferrari World with some high-speed roller coaster. They got all kinds of roller coasters, all kinds of water slides, all kinds of rides, and it's loaded. That's why a lot of Israelis were going over there to take the kids to the parks. Israel doesn't have any theme park worth a hoot in the country. There's nothing. Nobody wants to put the investment in. They're afraid of terrorism, bombing. They don't want it. So they've got fantastic hotels. I mean, they got probably no country in the world probably has hotels better than they do. Some countries have hotels that maybe you would say are about as good, but they got a hotel they consider 7 stars. They got 6-star hotels, and 5-star are a dime a dozen. Of course, you're going to be paying $3, $4, $5, $6, $10, $15,000 a day. It's only the oil-rich Muslims that are going to be able to use these high-end hotels. They have a lot of expensive houses that they built on. They made land masses. They built land masses on the water, and they put very expensive, multi-million-dollar houses right up on the water. And they're nice houses. They don't look like Arab chic houses per se. They're like similar to American houses in a way. And they're usually like 2 or 3 million to 8 or 10 million, dollars. And a lot of wealthy people buy a house there. They got probably the best shopping in the world. They have true duty free. You go to Nassau, places like that, it's not really duty free. They make you think it is. You go to the UAE, it's really duty free. Now, when you get back to your own country, you might have to belly up to the bar and pay the customs tariff on it, or you might, like a lot of people do, they just smuggle it in. Like you could go there and buy all kinds of expensive clothing, you know. Like a man could buy, you know, a sport jacket for $4,800, pants for $700-800, shirts for $400-500, $300 ties, $1,800 shoes. Stay there for a while and wear these clothes in the UAE, scuff up the shoes, wear the clothes, send them out for dry cleaning, and you know when you come back, it looks like you had clothes that you took with you, and so you bring an empty suitcase with you and you fill it up. They have all kinds of tricks. The Saudi royals and them, they don't have to pay tax. A lot of the oil-rich countries, I don't think when they come back they pay any tax on stuff. I can't guarantee it, but I don't think they do. But the wealthy ones that are influential in the government, they're going to get expedited check-in and they're not paying nothing. They're not paying taxes. It's dictatorships, and they're on the right side of things. So why are they going to, why are they going to pay anything they don't have to pay? So the UAE is a very different kingdom. It's a family business, just like Saudi Arabia. And they have restaurants. They have, you can have liquor there. It's pretty, much a place to see. I wouldn't go over there. It's a Sharia law country, and I wouldn't step foot in it. But a lot of people don't see it that way, and they go over there. Now, I was watching a video about Turkey a year ago. That's roughly, it could have been more, it could have been 14, 15 months, something like that. So October 7th was just rather localized in Israel. And they have a big nightlife in Turkey. Turkey is really kind of known for nightlife for young people, like bars and discos and, boozing it up and all that. And they have districts where there's a lot of this, bars and nightlife stuff is collected together. I don't believe there was prostitution there because I didn't see anything in the video that looked like it. Plus, all the people there, or almost all of them, were probably over 35, under 35 or so. When you look at, say, Thailand, they have districts like this. You see guys that are 55, 60, 70 years old walking around with 21-year-old girls. That's prostitution. They rent themselves out by the month to these men who they give the money to the girl and she sends it to the family. So the father has a bunch of girls. He puts them out on the stroll. That's cop talk for prostitution. And they send the money home back to the father and mother, who just sit around the house, very impressed with how blessed they are. They got 2 or 3, 4 of their girls out working as whores, and they're happy with that. This went on in Vietnam too. This is these are weird cultures that have no morality or sense of the law or anything. So I didn't see any of that in Turkey. I didn't see signs of drugs, although it would have been hard to pick up. They might have that there, but I don't think it's that obvious. And it was more like young people meeting young people and hanging out with each other. There was more men than women, 2 to 1, but there was women running around. And what shocked me is there was a ton of expensive cars. I'm talking $250,000, $500,000 cars driving around there. What the heck is this? What's this? That's the children of the terrorists. The same with Gaza. These people that run these terrorist organizations, the high-ranking officers and the leaders, are billionaires. Some are richer than Trump, really. They're billionaires. Turkey's got a horrible economy, and the narrator that wasn't from Turkey was saying, where are they getting all the money for these cars like that? I mean, my gosh, you know? And he didn't understand, but that's where it's coming from. So these guys are the kids, and they don't grow up, you know, like devout terrorist type people. They are schooled in Europe. They'll go to university in London or France or Switzerland or places like that, you know. And they come back and they, you know, live with the parent, you know, they're spoiled. The family has massive amounts of money. So the kid begs the parents to buy him a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, and boom, he gets one. You know. And this was in Turkey, so I guess it was part of the terrorists, Turkey, Erdogan's terrorist network, or I don't know what was going on. But Turkey's a poor country, and you're seeing these guys, their kids, running around with cars that are enough money for an average family in Turkey to live for 10 years. So Erdogan's dirty. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. He's running a dirty country. He's getting kickbacks from everybody. And he's a terrorist state in a way, but he hasn't emerged yet, but watch him. And this is what goes on with the kids of Hamas. They run around in Europe like that. And the kids of Hezbollah, you know, and it's just so sick, you know. So what are we looking for now? You're looking for Iran has to make a decision. Are we going to try to emerge strong and go after Israel? No. They're going to be afraid to because Netanyahu will wipe their economy out. It would take them to fortify their oil and gas industry. They would need to get ground-to-air missiles that take out aircraft and missiles and drones that are stealth planes. They have to be able to take out stealth planes. And that ain't coming anytime soon. Okay? So they might be able to create some damage in Israel and then they're going to get wiped out. Is that a good move for Iran? No. What's a smarter move? For them to stick around and wait to play again another day when they get better air defense systems and better missiles and then kill Israel. But their proxies are not happy with that. So they're not going to be able to do that. They're going to have to make a move. I'll be right back. Now, I'll prep you. I think they're going to move against America before Israel because America's in the habit of doing nothing. And they see that as weakness, where they know Israel's going to come after them. So I think we might very likely see Iran's proxies, Iraq and Syria, voraciously attack the American bases in Iraq and Syria, and they hit the Kaneko base, 2 days ago? Very hard. The Muslim media was saying they destroyed the base. It was hit hard. And they're going to do more of that. Because they see America as weak. And they think they can run America out of the Middle East. America's not going to do that. This appears to me to be the days when Jeremiah 49 gets fulfilled, which is the destruction of Elam, and Elam is Iran, Iraq, and Syria. The most likely event to bring that to pass would be Iraq and Syria attacking the American bases and really blowing them up and killing guys, maybe trying to take hostages and stuff like that. Then Netanyahu, being a proxy, will attack Iran. Then Iran will try to counterattack, and several countries are going to put Iran's lights out, and Iraq and Syria too. And all of them are going to have to leave their countries and go into a diaspora, a dispersion amongst the world. And it says the sword will follow them. They've been picking on Israel for a long time. It's payback. It's recompenses. Not redemption. We're not getting the land back yet. Recompenses. That's how I'm interpreting it. I could be wrong, but that's the sequence I see. Russia may join in and they may not join in. I don't know what they'll do. I think they won't join in. And I think this is going to be maybe the beginning of an Asia-Pacific war and Russia-NATO war, which may last a while. Such wars may not be, 30 days. They may be longer. And anytime now the sleeper agents in America are going to be unleashed. And these people that talk about the Bible and the wars on social media they stop talking about the sleeper agents for some idiotic reason. I have no idea why. No idea. They don't want you to know. And it's pretty stupid, but that's how they roll. Remember, Iran's a source of supply for drones and missiles to Russia, which he uses against Ukraine, and he will use against NATO. So there's a big vested interest in stopping Iran from supplying weapons to Russia. In addition to the Brics thing, you have that too. And the deadline of October 24th approaches. That's what I see. I don't know what's going to happen with Gaza, other than when we hit redemption, we'll be moving in. So it's likely going to stay the same until redemption, which is weeks or a few months or something, not long. And then we'll wipe them out. 2 witnesses will get them probably. They'll try to join in the siege of Zechariah 12. But it looks to me that the same thing could happen with Hezbollah. I don't see Israel going around and killing 35,000 of Hamas and 35,000 of Hezbollah. So they're going to be left there, and then they'll rise up in the siege, and the 2 witnesses will smoke them. Now, this is what gets me, and I don't have a crystal clear answer. From Malachi 3, which I'll explain to you. Let me check the chat very quickly, see if there's anything I need to deal with here. I'm going to get this to work better. All right. See, the Satan bots on a live stream can do witchcraft by getting into your eyes. Okay? That's why they say this. So give them a little tossed salad, they'll learn a lesson. Well, they're really trying to get me to take the sunglasses off, are they? Aren't they? Do I think Americans' elections will go? Gosh, I don't know. Biden, if there's a war with Russia and Iran and stuff like that, and even maybe in the Asia Pacific, he could suspend the elections using his emergency powers. That's a possibility that nobody talks about, but it is a possibility. Okay? Somebody was asking me if I saw explosions in Georgia that were done by sleeper agents. The 20th chemical plant to go in the last 2 years. I read something about a chemical plant, but I didn't dig into it. I predominantly report on Israel and the nations that are doing things affecting Israel, a little bit on Ukraine, a little bit on Taiwan and North and South Korea, but I don't get into, and I do America, but I didn't, you're probably right, it probably was some kind of sleeper agents. The train derailments, again, how did that happen? I mean, they seem to have controlled it now, but we used to get them all the time, and they were carrying toxic materials on the train. So yeah, there's a lot of that stuff going on, but to use an old expression, you ain't seen nothing yet. So where I'm a little bit concerned is Malachi 3. It doesn't concern me, I just have trouble sequencing it. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. That's Elijah. And it's Yeshua talking, the Word made flesh. And Jehovah whom you seek, if you're going to try to use church doctrine and you're going to think, oh, the two witnesses appear in the tribulation, you're very mistaken. They appear here, Malachi 3, and they also appear in Zechariah 12:6, where they burn up the enemies of Israel, surrounding Israel. So that's way, way before the tribulation, okay? He shall prepare the way before me, and Jehovah and Adonai whom you seek shall suddenly come to his temple. Even the messenger of the covenant whom you delight in, that's Elijah again. Behold, he shall come, saith Jehovah of hosts. Now, the messenger of the covenant might also be the glory of God of Israel, who is Michael, but because he met with Moses on Mount Sinai and gave him the Ten Commandments, but he's generally not referred to as a messenger. That would be the only place he was ever called a messenger, the angel, I believe. I mean, this angel, the glory of God of Israel. So I think it's again referencing Elijah. But who may abide, and Elijah and Apostle John are the two witnesses. But it can't be Moses. It says in the Bible, it's elected unto man to die only once. Moses died once. Forget it. Enoch's not a player in this. Neither is Melchizedek. And, John the Baptist died. He can't die again. It's not him, okay? But who may abide the day of and Apostle John in Revelation was told, you must prophesy again to many peoples and tongues. That hasn't happened, so it's going to happen. And then Yeshua, when he was standing there with the disciples, he says, there be some among you that shall not taste of death till they see the kingdom of God. Well, it doesn't say some, it says someone. It's a mistranslation on purpose. It's Apostle John, the beloved. Remember, the other apostles they were interpreting scripture, but they weren't giving prophecy like Apostle John did, the whole book of Revelation, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, okay? The other apostles were writing the testimony of Yeshua's days on earth and explaining prophecy, but he was actually giving prophecy. It's a big difference. But who may abide the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like a fuller's soap, and he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and he shall purify the sons of Levi, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Jehovah an offering in righteousness. So, this is the work of Elijah. Now, remember in the past he was working with the prophets in the school of the prophets and stuff, right? Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem, so the 10 tribes are not yet back, and the land is not expired, so the land's not expanded. So it appears that this is still before redemption, or maybe at the very, very beginning of redemption, but let's keep going. Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto the Lord, as in the days of old, as in the former years. And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, the adulterers, the false swearers, and against those that oppress and hire the hireling in his wages, oppress the widow, and oppress the fatherless, the orphans, and turn aside the stranger, and fear not me, saith Jehovah of hosts. So it makes sense to me that these are the Israelites that are bad. They're false believers, they're Satan bots, stuff like that. And this is consistent with Ezekiel 34. The very wealthy that get there by serving the unclean spirits, they get taken out because we don't see them in Zechariah 12. We see the feeble and the poor and the humble and the house of David. We don't see these characters there. And it would make sense to me that they're taken out before the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man in Zechariah 12:10, because they would be receiving everlasting life if they were there, and I don't think the Lord considers them worthy. Okay. For I am Jehovah, I change not, therefore you sons of Yaakov are not consumed. Even from the days of your fathers you are gone away from mine ordinances, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith Jehovah of armies. But you said, wherein shall we return? Will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. You are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me, even the whole nation, the whole land. The whole goyim. Wait. You have robbed, called goyim, all the goyim. Well, we better break this down into real, what it really says, because they're twisting this. A tie, that's you in the male, cursed, cursed, so you curse. Yeah, it could be cursed with a curse. It could be that. And then it says, you in the male have robbed. Let's see what that says. Kebab. Let's see if it really lends itself to this. Defrauded. It doesn't say me. It says you have defrauded all And then it says, goy, all the heathen. Doesn't make sense. See, nation is the nations, it's not Israel. And this word is not a word that's normally used for Israel. So it doesn't say rob me, it says robbed, call Goyim. That could be the 10 tribes. Don't know. This is confusing. But let's keep going. 3:10. Bring you all the tithes into my storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now, herewith saith Jehovah of armies, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. See, a lot of the people don't give offerings because they don't believe. They say they believe, but they don't really believe. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sake. Those are the bugs that eat the crops. And he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, saith Jehovah of armies. And all heathen nations, or heathen, shall call you blessed, for you shall be a delightsome land, saith Jehovah of armies. Your words have been stout against me, saith Jehovah, yet you say, what have we spoken so much against thee? You have said, it is vain to serve Elohim. And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinances, and that we have walked mournfully before Jehovah of armies, and now we call the proud happy? That's the Satanites. Yea, they that work wickedness are set up. Yea, they that tempt God are even delivered. Then they that feared Jehovah spake often one to another, and Jehovah hearkened, and he hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord, and that thought upon him. That's the book of life. And they shall be mine, saith Jehovah of armies, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his only son that serveth him. Now shall you return. See, that's a throwback or a connection, or I don't know, a tie to the prodigal son. Spare him as a man that spareth his only son. See, well, it's not exactly it says his own son, not only son. So it's the prodigal son. He goes away, squanders his wealth, runs around with the heathen, and the pigs get more to eat than him, and then finally he goes back to his father to ask him to be a servant, and the father runs out and gives him a robe, a ring, and shoes, and has a feast with the fatted calf for him. Okay, takes him back, return unto the Lord. That's what happens to us. And then we get a double portion. Better than it ever was for us before. Alright, so you see there's a good school of thought on this, that when Elijah appears and works with the Levites, and they make the offerings acceptable unto the Lord, It could be done with the tabernacle, because I covered yesterday in Ezekiel 37, it says, we'll have the tabernacle again. It could be. It could be that with the temple, because we get another temple that comes down from heaven, and that's not New Jerusalem. I covered that yesterday. Conceivably, it could be done with just an altar, but I'm not leaning on that at all. I think it's the tabernacle that will possibly precede the temple, but it's not talking about the tabernacle there, it's talking about the temple there. So the tabernacle could be something that is used when this next great exodus begins and the people stop in the wilderness to pass under the rod and enter the bond of the covenant. For that, you need to read Ezekiel chapter 20, beginning in verse 33, and I think Jeremiah 23, and I believe Jeremiah 16 or 17. For the second Exodus. It's not the second Exodus, it's the next great Exodus. So, the next great Exodus, the people are going to pass under the rod and enter the bond of the covenant, so it's very likely that the tabernacle, it's a possibility the tabernacle would be there. I don't have a direct scripture for that, so maybe I'm wrong. It's a good theory, I think, but I may not be right. I can't prove it. It says they shall also have the tabernacle, the Israelites, so it could just be in Israel. So in any event, with the tabernacle or with the temple, when the Levites make the offerings acceptable unto the Lord, then the blessings of the Lord come on us. And that lends itself with the acceptable year of Isaiah 61 and the year of redemption, because every man gets his inheritance back, reunited with his family. That's when we start getting the land back. That's when we have the great victories. The victories we're having today are nothing compared to what you're going to see in coming days, weeks, and perhaps some months yet too. Okay. So Elijah, as these enemies are put down, which is just about done, Elijah may emerge openly in Israel, probably with Apostle John, and I believe that John might be doing some different things, or not, and starts training the Levites. It's not going to be that much on, well, this is how you take the animal to sacrifice it, and you kill the animal. It's going to be how they live, who Jehovah is, who Yeshua is, who the Holy Spirit is, what is praying in the Spirit, right? What is the Holy Spirit? What about healing? What about signs and wonders? But it's all new to them, okay? So there's going to be a lot of teaching, and it looks like this teaching takes place at a time when, let me just say, missiles are not raining down on Israel. And looks like that time period could be right at the doors. Now, again, I could be wrong. Iran could start a rain of missiles on us, and other things could happen. But then again, maybe it is the beginning of this period of time, and Elijah may start working openly to prep the Levites to bring on the acceptable year of the Lord, the year of redemption. The Jubilee year, the Yovel year, can coincide with redemption, because the acceptable year of the Lord, well, I'll read it to you, sounds like a Yovel year, and the word Yovel means Jubilee year, and the root word is to be getting your inheritance back, I believe. Or it's either that or reunited with your family. I forgot, it's one of the two. What is this? Oh. Get this thing up. I might have got a note here from my supermarket. What the heck happened? Give me just a second, guys. Yeah, somebody's bringing me a delivery. I believe it's a new charger for the iPads. Okay. So that's a possible theory about Malachi 3. Okay? It's Judah and Jerusalem. It's pre-redemption. Okay, so Isaiah 61. And I'll do this quick because I've done it so many times, but it's growing on me. I'm thinking more and more this is true. The spirit of Adonai Yehovah is upon me, because Jehovah hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. Yovel year, you get reunited with your family and you get your inheritance back. It sounds very good so far, right? To proclaim the Yovel year is Jubilee, every 50th year. To proclaim the acceptable year, the pleasant year, is what it really means. It's Strong's number 7522, Ratzon. Okay, it doesn't say Jubilee year, but it says that, and the period. It says year, and I believe it's Shanat, so that it may not be a precise 12-month year, it may be longer. Of year of Jehovah, acceptable year of Jehovah, and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn. The mourning we see in Zechariah 12 towards the end, after the appearing, when they know who the Son of Man is, after he appears, they mourn, all the families of Israel. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness. My people's days shall be like that of a tree. The planting of Jehovah, that he might be glorified. And they shall build the planting. You're the seed. The promises were made not to seed of one, not to seeds of many, seed of one. You're the seed. You're in Yeshua, the planting. Get it? They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks. So we're going to have servants, possibly slaves. And the sons of the alien, the foreigner, shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. They're going to be happy to just stay here and be slaves and servants for the Israelites, because their countries are going to be busted up. Jeremiah 30, verse 11. But you shall be named the priests of Jehovah, the Kohanim of Jehovah. Men shall call you the ministers of Elohim. You shall eat the riches of the Goyim. That means you're going to be wealthy. And in their glory, in their riches and stuff, I believe is better translated. In their glory shall you boast yourself in the riches. For your shame you shall have double. and for confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. So you see, it's tying um, redemption to the acceptable year. It's a jubilee year. So the year of redemption, as the scriptures refers to it, is likely a possibly likely a jubilee year, because it's really the same type of things happen in a jubilee year as in the year of redemption. Not a tremendous difference. Okay? So I think that gives us a clue as to when we hit redemption. The new year begins in February 2025, probably sometime from around the 15th to the 20th, or maybe the 12th to the 20th of February. It's someplace in there. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that the first day of that year is going to be the beginning of redemption, and it might come on Pesach, on the Passover. It might come on the second or third day. We're not going to know the day or the hour, but you will know the season. And I think this is really the season. I can't explain the acceptable year of the Lord if I don't do that. If I can't relate it to the year of redemption, that makes no sense. Let me show you one thing in there. I gotta remember what verse this was, okay. To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance. You see, the day of vengeance is associated with the year of recompenses in Isaiah 34:8, and in Isaiah 63, around verse 3 or 4 or something. It's associated with the year of redemption. And now it's associated with the acceptable year. Now, recompenses would not be the acceptable year. That's payback, revenge type vengeance on the enemies, which culminates in the day of vengeance, which is probably as a theory that may or may not be true, it sounds good, the last day of year of recompenses and the first day of redemption can be the day of vengeance. So there's a very slight overlap, or it could be a weak overlap or something, I don't know. So that's how I'm seeing it. Okay. Anyway, these are exciting times. The Israelis are starting to be proud to be Israelis again for the first time in a long, long time. Angel messenger, yeah, I think the glory of God of Israel is the glory of God. I mean, I could be wrong, it could be a messenger, but it's possible, but I'm not thinking that, but it could be. See, with prophecy, we know things are going to happen and we know the end result. Elijah is going to make the Levites do the offerings in an acceptable way. But how long does it take, and when does it start, and how does it start, and how does it end, and how many Levites? I don't know. We don't get all the information in the prophecies. Just don't get it all. That's just the reality of it. So one has to be careful, and that's why I've learned to just present these possibilities as likely possible scenarios, but they don't have to be that way. We have to be careful and use restraint and not push ourselves into prophecy further than we should be pushing ourselves. Okay? So I'm Moshe. Please pray for me and my wife. Pray for our peace, safety, protection, joy, healing. Pray for our finances, and pray we don't have to go into bomb shelters. And pray for our animals and pets that are all rescues, that they be happy, healthy, and whole. Now, the bird that had the leaky croft from the stupid breeder um, that caused the problem um, is doing excellent now. Excellent. Thank you for the prayers. Please keep them coming. The bird had a hole burned in his croft because the idiot breeder gave this baby bird food from a microwave that was too hot. But it looks like he's really making it now. Okay, a prayer request for TH Tom Hotel. TH Tom Hotel. TH. Pray that the phone network stays functional. So for TH Tom Hotel, pray that this person's phone network stays functional. Okay. This storm that came in, Florida, North Carolina, and all that, there could be as many as 1,000 people not accounted for. It was pretty tragic. And I think it was one of the big companies, Reuters or something like that, said that the damage is going to be between 15 and 26 billion dollars for this latest storm. Okay. Iran is saying that America promised Iran a ceasefire for not attacking Israel when we killed the Hamas leader in Tehran. And they stabbed Iran in the back. I think Iran is blowing that out of proportion. I don't believe it's as drastic as Iran is saying. First of all, they never had direct interaction. It went through a mediator, so there's always room for the mediator screwing it up. But I don't think Iran's telling the truth. But they're trying to create an alibi to attack America. And pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. Hitting the like button will take you 2 seconds and it helps. And wow, I came in just at 2 hours today. Not bad at all. Okay. So I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. And